Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, what is real? I mean, really, not just what you see or touch, but the deeper layers of reality. Is life only what we can measure, like atoms and energy? Or is there more, like thoughts, love, spirit, or consciousness? Humans have asked these questions for thousands of years. Philosophers, scientists, spiritual seekers. They've all tried to answer one question. What does it mean to exist? Let's rewind, way back to ancient Greece. There was a guy named Parmenides. He believed that reality never changes, that everything we see, growth, motion, decay, is just an illusion. But then came Heraclitus, who said, everything flows, nothing stays the same. Life is constant change. Then along came Plato, trying to make sense of this. He said, there's a world we see, and then there's a deeper one we don't. The real stuff? That's the world of ideas, like perfect beauty, truth, or justice. Everything here is just a shadow of that world. His student Aristotle thought differently. He said, to exist is to be a thing, a real physical thing with purpose. Like an acorn that wants to become a tree. Everything has potential and a goal. Far away in ancient Asia, people were asking the same question. In Buddhism, they said nothing has a permanent core. Everything depends on everything else. You, me, a tree, we're all part of a flowing, ever-changing web. To cling to anything as permanent? That's where suffering starts. Taoism, from China, had a different take. They talked about the Tao, the way. It's not a person or a god. It's the natural rhythm of the universe. To exist is to move with it, to flow like water. Fast forward to the 20th century. Heidegger said, we've forgotten how to ask what being really means. He thought humans are unique because we know we're temporary. We live with death in mind. So to exist is to care, to wonder, to question. Then came Sartre, the existentialist. He said, we aren't born with purpose, we create it. No God, no script, just freedom and responsibility. Camus said the universe is silent, but that doesn't mean we give up. It means we choose to live bravely, even if life feels absurd. So what does it mean to exist? Maybe it's not just about being alive. Maybe it's about asking the question at all. Existence isn't just about facts. It's about searching, facing the unknown, and maybe, just maybe, becoming something more. Is existence only physical? So here's a big question. Are we just physical bodies? Or is there something more, like, is consciousness just a bunch of brain signals, or is it something deeper, maybe even spiritual? Let's start with what modern science says. Most scientists today follow something called physicalism. It's the idea that everything, your thoughts, your feelings, your dreams, come from your brain. Neurons fire, chemicals move, and voila, you feel love, fear, hunger, joy. Thinkers like Patricia Churchland and Daniel Dennett say, there's no ghost inside you, just biology doing its job. Your mind is your brain at work. And honestly, this view explains a lot. When certain parts of the brain are damaged, people lose memory, personality, even language. When the brain dies, they say, your consciousness, ends. But here's the catch. Not everyone agrees. Descartes, the I think, therefore I am guy, believed that the mind and body are two different things. Your body can break, but you, the thinking you, still exist. Even today, this idea survives in what's called dualism. People who support it ask, how can a bunch of atoms feel sad, or love, or wonder? That's where David Chalmers' hard problem of consciousness comes in. We can explain how the brain processes sound, But we can't explain why hearing music can move you to tears. Why does anything feel like anything? Science still can't answer that. And then there's an even weirder idea: panpsychism. It says maybe everything is a little bit conscious, not like a rock has a personality, but maybe every particle has a tiny flicker of awareness. Wild, right? It flips the script. Maybe consciousness isn't created by brains, maybe it's built into the universe itself. Then there's Donald Hoffman. He says we're not seeing reality at all. We're seeing a user interface, like icons on your phone. They're useful, but not the real thing. Maybe our senses are just shortcuts. Reality could be way stranger than we imagine. So, are we just cells and synapses, or are we more? A soul, a spark of awareness, a mystery science hasn't cracked yet. Maybe the real question isn't just what are we made of, but what are we becoming? What is reality? Competing worlds. So far, we've asked, what does it mean to exist? And are we just physical beings or something more? But now we go even deeper. What is reality itself? Is there one true world out there? Or are there many layers, some seen, some hidden? First, let's talk about what is scientific realism. In modern science, the big idea is realism, that there's a universe out there existing whether we notice it or not. Planets spin, atoms collide, gravity pulls, and all this happens regardless of what we believe. But then, physics threw a curveball. In the double-slit experiment, tiny particles act like waves until we observe them. When we watch, they suddenly behave differently. Weird, right? It's like consciousness affects the outcome, like the act of seeing changes what's real. What is the quantum interpretation of this? From this, some scientists propose the many worlds theory. They say every possible outcome actually happens, just in a different universe. That means there could be infinite versions of you, living different lives, making different choices. Others, like Nick Bostrom, take it even further. What if we're inside a simulation? If advanced beings can create worlds on computers, who's to say this world isn't one of them? Think about it. How would you even know? It sounds wild, but it forces us to ask, if everything can be simulated, what counts as real? Believe it or not, these aren't new questions. Plato warned about this in his allegory of the cave. He imagined people chained inside a cave, only seeing shadows on the wall. That's their world. But one person breaks free, goes outside, and sees the real world for the first time. The message? What we see might be just shadows. There could be more out there. In Islamic metaphysics, reality is more than just particles or illusions. It's rooted in God, known as Al-Haq, the real. The world exists, yes, but it's not self-sufficient. Everything we see is dependent on God's being. Sufi mystics like Ibn Arabi talked about Wahdat al-Wujud, the unity of being. They said, everything in existence is a manifestation of the divine. What looks like many things is actually one. And reality isn't just physical. It has layers. The outer world, al-Mulk, what we see. The inner world, al-Mithal, dreams, symbols. The hidden world, al-Ghaib, the unseen truth. To know reality, they said, is to unveil it, not just with logic, but with the heart. Meanwhile, in modern philosophy, people started to ask, what if reality isn't something we find, but something we make? Foucault and Derrida said, what we call truth is shaped by language, culture, and power. Nietzsche even claimed, there are no facts, only interpretations. That might sound scary, like nothing is real, but it's more about awareness. It's saying, we filter reality through belief, bias, and stories. So, What is reality? Is it atoms in space? A dream in God's mind? A glitch in the matrix? Or a story we're constantly rewriting? Maybe it's all of those, or maybe reality isn't one thing at all. Maybe it's a tapestry, woven from physics and faith, from perception and truth, from what's out there and what's inside us. How the mind constructs reality. Let's take a step back. Maybe the real question isn't just what is reality? Maybe it's how do we even know reality in the first place? Because here's the truth. Your brain doesn't just record the world like a camera. It builds the world piece by piece, second by second. Perception is a controlled illusion. Neuroscientist Anil Seth has a bold idea. What you experience isn't reality. It's a controlled hallucination. Your brain is constantly guessing what's out there, using memory, emotion, and past experience, then updating those guesses with sensory input. It's not passively receiving the world, it's predicting it. Take the hollow mask illusion. Even when you know it's inside out, your brain flips it because it expects faces to bulge outward or change blindness. Huge changes can happen right in front of us, and we don't see them. Why? Because the brain fills in the gaps with what it expects, not what's actually there. So in a way, you're not seeing the world as it is. You're seeing it as your mind believes it should be. And it's not just biology. Our language, our culture, our beliefs, they all shape what we think is real. Some indigenous languages don't separate the concept of future and present. That changes how time is experienced. Religious people might see pain as a test from God. A materialist might see it as biology misfiring. Same event, different reality. The philosopher you carry inside you, your worldview, literally rewires how you experience life. Now think about this. Every night, we dream. We live full experiences, places, people, emotions, and don't even realize it's all inside our head. In lucid dreams, we even become aware we're dreaming, yet the world still feels real. Psychedelics take this further. Under the influence of substances like psilocybin or LSD, people report experiences of timelessness, unity, and ego loss. Some call it illusion. Others say, that's when I saw what was actually real. Who decides? Cognitive scientist Donald Hoffman takes a radical step. He says our senses are like a desktop interface, icons we click to survive. They're useful, but they don't show the real code underneath. Just like you don't need to know how your phone works to use Instagram, we don't need to see the truth to live. So maybe reality isn't what we see. It's what we need to see to get by. So what's real? The world out there? Or the one in here, inside your mind? Maybe both. Maybe reality is the dance between what is and what we perceive, between mystery and meaning. And the deeper we look, the more we realize that reality is not just what exists, it's also what we experience, what we create, and what we choose to believe in. An integrated view of reality. We've explored a lot, what it means to exist, whether we're just physical, how the mind filters reality, and whether we're even seeing the real at all. But maybe the truth doesn't lie in one answer. Maybe reality isn't this or that. Maybe it's all of it, layered, complex, alive. Science tells us what, but not why. Science is incredible. It explains how stars are born, how brains work, how cells divide. It maps the what of reality. But when it comes to the why do we love? Why do we long for meaning? Why does anything matter? Science starts to go quiet. Even physicist Steven Weinberg once said, "The more the universe seems comprehensible, the more it also seems pointless." But here's the thing. We don't live like life is pointless. We cry at music. We sacrifice for love. We stare at the stars and feel something. There's more going on than just particles. Maybe reality isn't just made of matter. Maybe it's also made of meaning. That doesn't mean giving up science. It means widening the lens. There's room for logic and mystery, for data and depth, for facts and faith. Consciousness isn't just neurons. It's also the space where we dream, reflect, and imagine. Love isn't just chemistry. It's connection, risk, devotion. Reality, then, may be not just what is, but also what calls to us, in silence, in awe, in longing. In Islam, there's a name of God, Al-Haq, the real, not just real in the sense of not fake, but truly, ultimately real. In this view, everything we see, trees, people, stars, all of it exists because of God. But only God is necessary. Everything else is borrowed being. Mystics like Ibn Arabi said, what looks like separation is actually unity in disguise. That reality has depths, the outer world we see, the subtle world of symbols and dreams, and the unseen world, the source. To know reality, then, isn't just science. It's also purifying the heart, opening the soul, remembering the source. So maybe reality isn't one answer. Maybe it's a mosaic, where atoms and wonder exist side by side, where science and spirit shake hands, where the mind builds frameworks, but the heart feels the deeper truth. To live well means to explore reality with curiosity, to question bravely, to listen deeply, and to be humbled by what we don't yet understand. Because in the end, reality is not just what we know, it's what we serve, what we love, and what we're slowly becoming. Let's conclude what we have talked about. So, what is reality? Is it the world outside us, the stars, the science, the facts, or is it the world within, the voice in our minds, the longing in our hearts? After all this searching, here's what we found. Reality isn't simple. It's not just particles, not just dreams, not just logic, and not just spirit. It's all of it. It's the physical world that science explores, and the invisible world that philosophy questions. It's the spiritual depth that faith reveals, and the inner landscapes that only we can feel. Reality is not just what exists, but how we live it. You see, the question, what is real, isn't only about molecules or metaphysics. It's also about how do we live? Do we live as if nothing matters, or as if everything does? Do we reduce the world to what we can measure, or do we also leave space for mystery? Because the truth is, we live in stories, in relationships, in responsibilities, in choices. Reality is not just what we find, it's what we participate in, it's what we embody, and maybe we're not meant to solve it all. Maybe we're meant to walk through it with wonder, to ask without always needing an answer, to let the question stretch us, deepen us, to seek with honesty, with humility, and with heart. So if you've ever stared at the sky and asked, what's the point of all this? Why am I here? What's real, really? You're not alone. You're part of a very old, very human story, the story of a species trying to make sense of the universe and of themselves. Maybe the point isn't to find all the answers. Maybe the point is to keep asking, to keep seeking, because in the end, reality isn't just what we understand, it's what we're becoming. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more deep content. We cover philosophies of life,